Hey, Coach. Daniel Jones is a pretty interesting quarterback you're facing this weekend. He's a guy that really can move the ball, but he's prone to turnovers. Is there anything specific you tell your guys going in against a matchup with a QB that maybe coughs it up sometimes?
Well, I mean, obviously we always are stressing turnovers. Today's turnover Thursday, so big emphasis point each Thursday. But look, what we recognize is he's got the ability to make all the throws. That he's got the ability to run the football as well, which we saw in the first game. And to me, we've got to look at playing him at his best, and we're preparing accordingly. So we recognize the talent level and the skill level, and they've got a lot of weapons we got to worry about besides just a quarterback. But certainly, he's got a lot of tools.
Thanks, Jack.
Hey, Jack. Obviously, we've talked a lot about the defensive line, Chase Young, and everybody else. You had a chance during this break to study and kind of see what they've done. What's the next step, do you think, for this group going forward?
Well, for us is to build on the start that we have to this season. We're looking to continually improve. We've established high standards, and our expectations are very high, and we're going to keep pushing for that. I think the biggest thing that I'm excited about is I see the guys, the way we're working at it, the energy they bring every day. It's positive things come about with that type of approach. So I'm pleased with the way we're attacking it, and we're seeking to be better, and we should be better as the year goes on.
Thank you.
I don't see Philip, so let's go Pete, Sam, Nikki.
Hey, Jack. Cam Curl looks slated to have a much bigger role this weekend. Instead of going out and signing someone, you guys are giving him that chance. Why do you feel confident in Cam? What have you seen from him so far this year?
Well, we like Cam as a player. We've got a group that's been working together that understands how we do things. We feel like it's the best way for us to go forward.
Thank you, and happy Turnover Thursday.
Thank you.
Hey, Jack, in the last few months, I think it seems like you've been one of the more politically outspoken coaches in the league. I wonder what prompted you to start speaking out maybe a little more?
I don't know. Right now, I'm just trying to focus on the Giants. So, I have a personal life. Sometimes I share a little glimpse of it. But beyond that, I casted my vote, and now I'm focused on the Giants. I'm not worried about anything other than helping us beat the Giants.
Ron has said that there's a lot of political discussion, especially this week. He likes to see players and coaches engaged. I wonder how much of that, you were able to participate in and what that was like in the locker room this week.
I wasn't part of any discussions other than preparing for the Giants.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nikki?
Jack, just going back to your pass stops and, trying to help a struggling defense in years past before you got there really rebuild itself. Are there things you've learned in those stops that you've tried to apply to, this year in Washington?
Well, I think you certainly you learn everywhere you are. You're learning, and so I've had a chance. I mean, if you go all the way back to the history of where I started,
Mm-hmm.
You have to start with me as a player and the systems I was exposed to as a player, and people like Tony Dungy that were a huge impact in my life and how I do things, and so I think you go all the way back that way. Obviously, I've been coaching a long time. You grow as you go, and certainly you have to change. You have to stay current with the times, and challenges that the defenses face in today's world are much different than they were 20 years ago. So, I seek to stay current, and so that's we're always, to me, it's not about any one person. I'm the person that kind of puts it all together and helps coordinate it. But the reality is we have a lot of good coaches and a lot of good players that are working really hard to help this thing get turned in the right direction. And so that's kind of how I approach it. I come in with great energy every day, excited to do what I do. I love to communicate. I love to teach. I love to motivate. And we come in and attack it every day and have a little fun along the way. And we're hoping to be better as we go through this season.
The defensive line specifically, obviously having an impact there. Is it having the kind of impact you envision it having, ultimately?
Well, we've done some really good things, and then we've had some areas where we're going to continue to improve, and we're going to work at it collectively. But, to me, too much is there's this attempt to separate like the D line from the linebackers and the DBs. It all works together. And I'll throw a cliche at you. It's the ultimate team sport, right? So I mean, it just is. So, good rush, it's going to have a hard time if you don't have coverage. Good coverage is going to eventually break down if you don't have good rush. So it really does tie together. And as a former linebacker, I understand the linebackers. They tie to the front and the back end. So all three levels of your defense are important. And when they're all working together, that's when you can do some really special things.
Thanks, Jack.
You're welcome.
Let's go John Kime, Matt Paris, Steve Wino.
Hey, Jack, this is going to be a bit off the wall, so I'm just helping a teammate out here with this question.
All right.
Back in 1989, you were with Dallas. You guys went 1-15. What was that like to endure as a player?
It was tough to hear the banter, but really – we had a run defensively in the second half of that season. I think we were near the top, if not at the top of the league in terms of what we did the last half of the year. So we were building something kind of with an eye toward the future and just attacking football, and really fell back in love that year with football. I was a little frustrated over the previous 2 years in Kansas City, but bottom line is that was a rejuvenation for me personally. That was a team that took the core of that team, then went on and won 3 of the next 4 Super Bowls, or a couple years later, but three out of 4 years in a period there. They were very successful, and the core of that team was what was playing in those Super Bowls. So, to me, you have professional football, even when there's a bad record, it's professional football, and people prepare hard, they play hard. There is talent, and so I think the one victory we had that year was against the Redskins, actually.
Yes, it was.
And I think the Redskins, didn't they go on and win it that year? They won, if not,
no,
the year after, if not. But anyway, the bottom line is we beat a good team, and we built a good team while we were there. Sometimes you have slow years, but the professionalism and the work ethic and the toughness and the grit and the willingness to go, that there was none of that was missing. It was just, we weren't very good yet, but we became good.
And then with Chase Young, what are some of the things that you can do just with his presence, even like watching some of those zone blitzes, the way they work, him dropping blindside, what are some of the things you can do just because of what he offers?
Yeah, I think first of all, he's not going to drop a lot. But the last game we had, he actually we added it up, and he ended up being the guy that ended up being called on to drop like 7 times, which was never part of the plan to have him drop that much. But it just worked out that way. It was totally like freakish. It could have gone the other way. It just had to do with where they aligned. He wasn't the designated drop guy. It's like it just happened. So without talking too much about scheme, but the bottom line is, he's doing a great job. He plays hard. He works hard. He's a good teammate. He comes out with great energy every day. His numbers are going to come. And so really just want to encourage him to stay the course, continue to be the fine young man that he is, and continue to play with an edge.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Jack, just kind of following up on that. When a guy is disruptive as Chase is in every other kind of aspect of the game, do you find the numbers do even out by the end of the year, or are there adjustments guys have to make when the sack totals aren't there?
No, they come. They come. To me, you just go out and you go to work and you help the football team win games. The numbers will come.
Hey, Jack, I'm wondering, what have you seen from your secondary and combined with some of that pass rush that's helped so much in terms of kind of at least getting a read on opposing quarterbacks and having a sense of what they're doing this season?
Well, we've worked hard at becoming sound in what we're doing in the back end and limiting the number of explosive plays that we allow. You know, when you talk about explosive plays, you're typically talking about the back end and missed tackles. And it's either leverage issues, missed tackles, or missed assignments. And so we're working hard as a defense to minimize those, make offenses have to work, and not allow explosive plays as best we can. And, you know, obviously communication is key. Leverage and tackling is key. Having an understanding of where you belong and being there and being accountable for your teammates is part of it. So I like the way our group has worked at it. I think we're an improving group, but we have a lot of work to do yet as we get into the second half of the year.
Last one, Rhiannon Walker.
Hey, Jack. At some point, I think we're going to have to see one of those Turnover Thursday videos that you've talked about so much and joked with us about. But
we had the best one today. We had the best one today.
Are you going to tell us about it, Jack? Are you going to finally spill the beans on what it was?
I'm not spilling the beans, but it was really good.
I'll get you about this later, Jack, but okay. So as relates to the Giants game, what are some things that you look at from that first game and you say, hey guys, these are the things that we really, really need to clean up, or these are the things that I want to see you all improve on since this is the first divisional game you guys have had this year and this is round 2 basically in that regard?
Yeah, we identified a few of the things that we felt we could do better. I think overall for us, we want to play complementary football and we want to do our part as a defense. So we need to get the ball back for our offense as often as possible. And we got to take care of the quarterback run. I mean, we can't have him, getting an explosive run like he did in the game. So there are a few areas that we need to address. I think third down. I don't think we were particularly strong third down in that game. I think it was probably our worst game of the year. And so there are many things that we need to do better. Holding the point total down is important, but finding a way to get the offense the ball back as often as possible is huge.